folks, welcome back. I am reading today on whatever Spirit would like me to say, whatever message they want to give is what I'll give, okay? I'm going to shuffle until Spirit tells me to stop. We have the Seven of Chalices, or the Seven of Cups, debauchery. This is indulging in something so hardcore that you get sick of it, right? It's complete and utter abandon, and it might be in something like alcohol, for instance. Quite literally, this might have to do with alcoholism. But it can have to do with other things that we throw ourselves into with abandon. And by the way, I'm using the Thoth Tarot. Anything that we throw ourselves into if we throw ourselves into something with abandon, towards something that is toxic, like workaholism, or overeating, or too much, deliberately stirring up too much gossip, deliberately stirring up too much drama in your life because you're bored. We're bored, for instance. That could be any number of people, not just you, right? But something is being overindulged in, and it's not good for you. It's not good for any person. Moderation is key, and that's the warning seen with this particular card. Slow down, or else your health could suffer some negative side effects. This is the Five of Wands. Thought it was the Swords for just a second. It's the Five of Wands. This is about strife and a whole lot of conflict. And something that I note right away is the red and blue. I'm an American, and so right away what I think of are the Republican and Democrat parties. Okay? So when I get these two together, I sense a population that is utterly debauched with politics, drunk with the toxicity of politics. This is ultimately bad for our health. You get the debauchery card on an individual level as well as on a macro, a national level. The level of politics that we participated in to this point on both sides of the coin is what this strife card is saying. It's ultimately not good for us. Taking a step back and bringing moderation back to the conversation is key. Looking at things from another angle entirely, this is the Hanged Man. This is the universe saying, would you volunteer, please, to slowing your life down, like we saw in the last two cards, slowing your life down and deliberately looking at things from a new angle. This could encourage folks, everybody, you who's listening and people in your life who might not be listening but who would still benefit from this advice. This might be an encouragement to take up a spiritual path or a meditation routine at the very, very least, right? I love using the app Insight Timer if that gets anyone started on anything, okay? I find it to be super helpful. But the Hanged Man is about us volunteering to do that. In the reverse position, then I would say that the universe is forcing an individual or a population to stop and look at things differently. Kind of like a light tower moment. But right here, Spirit is asking people to slow down, to look at everything from a different angle. And that would take some degree of calm and groundedness, centeredness, mindfulness, even if we're going to go on with the whole demure and mindful route, okay? Some civility needs to be brought back to the conversation here. Slow down is what Spirit is saying. Extreme action is not to be taken lightly at this time. I note that I am filming this on the day that Pluto in Capricorn switches into the sign of Pluto in Aquarius permanently and will stay there until 2043 or 2044, depending on what astrological system you are using, okay? We're going to be sitting with this energy for some time, and a lot of people might be feeling incredibly turbulent right now. Do not give in to that energy. Moderation, temperance, balance is going to be very key here. This is where turning off social media or deleting your social media profiles altogether will be very beneficial to some people watching this particular video. Take it as it resonates. Maybe simply taking a step back from social media is all you need. Maybe it's taking a step back from family, from friends, even romantic partners who might be fueling this energy of go into overdrive when it comes to fighting with the opposing side. It's not worth it. Slow down. Do not go back to sleep. Stay awake. We are in trying times. We are starting the trying times. We have the Four of Wands. Something is complete. I note that it's landing on the debauch position. I'm doing a 3x3 with my tarot cards today. Something is complete. And now I note that my attention is being drawn to the astrological signs drawn into this particular image. I've got Venus in Aries. So this is about an energy that is very fiery, very impulsive, but is grounded in the energy, the very diplomatic, loving, balanced, loving kind of energy that you'll see in Venus, also associated with Libra. So potentially this has the potential to be a passionate but loving sign if it's not out of balance. I do kind of sense that with this debauchery that people feel like something is over when it comes to this political cycle, and I get the feeling that's not the case at all. I say cycle, and here we have a circle being depicted right here, okay? People feel like something's finished, and they are celebrating, going overboard even. Celebrating until they're sick. They don't actually feel like partying anymore, but the circumstances just kind of goad them, push them, spear them along the path of continuing to just get drunk on this idea of war, civil war. I've always been a little bit disturbed by people who fantasize about war. It speaks to emotional immaturity, spiritual immaturity, mental immaturity, every kind of level of immaturity that you could have. It speaks to lack of experience. It speaks to lack of empathy, compassion, and common sense. War is hell. War destroys. And as an American, we've been tremendously shielded from the wars that we've exported out to other countries and used those wars to benefit us in keeping our power, in keeping business matters going. It's, to me, utterly shameful, and it should be to other Americans too. This is not a nation worth being proud of. And I'm saying that with someone who has their moon in Aries, okay? If anyone's going to be patriotic, it's going to be me. We have the Seven of Discs. This is about failure. A crop was planted. It did not thrive, and in fact, it died in the ground, and now we just have to say, well, fuck it. That's it. We're going to have to try again next year when the season tries again. I'm looking at the astrological signs. We've got Saturn in Saturn in Taurus right here. So this is about deep restrictions and some chaotic energy, some destructive energy even when it comes to the things that we take for granted. That Taurus energy is something that I associate with Venus. Taurus people, I'll speak from personal experience. I have my Venus in Taurus. I love to eat. People with their Venus and Tauruses love to be comfortable. This sucks. Saturn says, no, you're not going to get to be comfortable. So something about this completion of a cycle is not comfortable. Something failed here. And I note that failure is landing on the house, is landing above the strife card. This is about failing to reach a conclusion which one potential side really, really wanted. And so they are going to fight with all their might against the truth of the matter. The election is over, but a lot of the people are going to fight the final conclusions. Relax. Uranus is at work here. That's associated with Pluto in Aquarius. Aquarius is associated with Uranus. Sudden transformations, rebellions, revolutions, extremes, black swan events. I said extremism. I definitely feel like one potential side is going to lash out in anger when they find out that what they wanted to be true actually wasn't. The next thing we have is the 10 of Pentacles or the 10 of Discs. This is about wealth. I note that this is about Virgo, and I associate Virgo with the harvest, or with the beginning of the harvest, because that's where Virgo lands in the calendar, in the agricultural calendar. That's when we start to gather in the harvest, at least traditionally speaking. There's going to be a whole lot of strife and deep upsettedness, specifically to do with wealth. We're looking at the wealth of a nation draining away. That's where a lot of this strife is coming in, is that when failures, here we've got two discs together, when failures start to hit the fan, when shit starts to hit the fan when it comes to the nation's wealth, that's when strife is going to really take off. The universe is asking us to volunteer to look at the nation's wealth from a different perspective altogether. Not necessarily at all to do with finances, but with the other things that our nation has that makes our bodies physically comfortable. Our bodies have brains and they let us know, hey, this feels good or this sucks. And a lot of us learn to shut down and not pay attention to the signals that our bodies are giving us. Our bodies have a mind, a memory of their own, a collective memory of their own. And there's something about that the universe is asking to take another look at and recontextualize in light of what's going on. Slow down, do not go back to sleep. Do your research, pay close attention to your confirmation bias within yourself, and that's going to require you being genuinely honest, authentically honest with yourself. Bias, I used to teach students, okay? I used to teach them it is impossible to completely get rid of bias. It just is, but you can do as much work as possible to get rid of as much bias as possible. Being aware of your background, being aware of any prejudices, any discriminations that you may have, even if you don't think that you do. If you come up against someone that American society would typically describe as the least of these, how do you respond? My family has a saying, how you treat small children, small animals, the elderly, and service workers are pretty good metrics of how you are as an individual. If you treat these people with loving compassion, genuine compassion, you aren't condescending to them, then you're probably, at least trying to be a decent person in life. And the same goes for someone who isn't. You can use those same metrics for someone who is awful. if they don't treat those groups well, they're probably not trying to be decent people, okay? So here I was just talking about balance earlier, temperance earlier in relationship to debauchery. Landing on top of debauchery and completion is prudence. When everything is said and done, it's going to be more likely that taking a step back is going to be prudent. Taking a look at the completion cycle, allowing the completion cycle to be finished, is going to be the wisest course of action here. It's going to be wise to save your energy for another day, and that's where this hanged man comes into play. Saving your energy to fight another day and learn and study from the universe. Learn and study from what's changing so rapidly. With Pluto in Aquarius, the changes are going to be ridiculously fast and in a very short number of years too. Grounding yourself and staying still is going to be key to watching the international and national drama unfold without it affecting you as much. That's as much advice to me as it is to anybody else, okay? So, understanding that a cycle is complete, that it is going to bring about, you could say quite literally, economic failure. A new Great Depression, maybe even worse than the Great Depression of the 1930s, could be at work here. And being wise about, again, moderate, temperate about how all this plays out is going to be key to the survival of your mental health, not just that of your physical body, okay? We've got the 9 of Chalices, the 9 of Cups. This is about happiness. Being wise is the key to true happiness here. And in fact, it gives you overwhelming amounts of happiness. Now, this is interesting. Be cautious, be wise around those. This is what I've got stacked up, okay? Be wise around those who delight in the failure of this particular nation, who delight in our failure. Do not give them what they are wanting here. This is about discs, but that's also about not giving away our mental health, not sacrificing our mental health when you see others celebrating the downfall of the United States, okay? Measured responses are the key to this particular game. Keep an eye on how your body responds to stress around these particular times. That's just as much like your gut health is connected to your mental health in all kinds of crazy ways that I bet that we haven't discovered completely yet. So keep that in mind. Keep up with your prebiotics. Keep up with the healthy eating. And if you haven't started eating healthy, this is your call to action to start eating healthy now. Take care of your gut, and by extension, you'll start to take care of your mental health, okay? There are going to be a lot of people who take great pleasure, great joy in watching Americans, everyday Americans, suffer. Like myself, like you watching this particular video, and even if you're around the globe, if you even have some degree of compassion for the people who didn't want all this to happen, who are still stuck with the scenario here in the United States, they're going to delight, other people might delight in your unhappiness as well, okay? Last and not least, we've got 8 of Wands. This is about moving really, really quick. And I said Mercury earlier and I mistook it for Taurus. Please excuse me, one of those brain fart days. Mercury is working together with Sagittarius right here. That's some extremely powerfully fast-moving energy. That is air on fire. And folks, what does fire need in order to grow and move fast? It needs oxygen. It needs a lot of it, and it needs a lot of swiftly moving air. Swiftness. 8 of Wands. This is going to move fast, y'all. I feel like the decline of the nation and the decline of the American economy is going to be really, really quick. And again, we're coming back to the Hanged Man, to the wealth of the nation, the nation's economy, and swiftness. We're going to have to look at everything from a different angle. Grounding is going to be so key. Staying still during turbulent times is going to be so key. You have to do this. If you don't want your mental health to go batshit fucking insane, because these are unusual times, dude. There is no one alive who remembers the last Pluto in Aquarius. These are uncharted waters, and I'm not the only one who's saying that. Whenever I listen to other astrologers, they're saying like, yeah, these are unusual, uncharted waters too, when you look at how the planets align. We don't have a rule book for how this goes. We do have old world collective knowledge that can assist us during these times, but we're also charting our own territory here. And grounding yourself is going to be key, because I feel like things are going to spin rapidly out of control, because there will be a whole lot of people who will be delighting in how fast things spin out of control, who will be benefiting greatly. Like, say, for instance, people like Elon Musk, maybe even literally Elon Musk, will be benefiting a great deal from the economic fallout that a lot of Americans are going. I wonder if those folks aren't going to enrich themselves somehow through inflation, through tariffs. Something's going to happen in such a way that money from working class and even the shrinking middle class goes directly into the billionaire class's pockets, like directly into that. It's like a funnel even. So, Spirit is saying close out with 3 from the top. Nope, we're shuffling. Shuffle until Spirit says stop. We've got the 7 of Wands. That is valor. Looks like this is Aries in Leo. I'm trying to read the astrological sign. Aries in Leo is about being extremely brave, being willing to know when to take action and when to stay seated and witness what is going on within yourself and what is going on in your outside world. That's also being willing to be the only one to stand up with Leo. Leo is all about sun, center stage energy, and some of you might be forced onto center stage and you don't like being the center of attention at all. You enjoy being behind the scenes, and you might hate this because standing up for the right thing might suck. But both of these signs, in fact, all the fire signs, when they are in their elevated, evolved positions, they are about humanitarian justice and seeing it done swiftly. This is Aries in Leo energy. If you move, get drunk with the spirit, not with the toxic substances or even the getting pulled down with depression and feeling like there's no way out of this. You are being asked to be the one to rise up and stand against even those feelings of this is hopeless, those feelings of despair. You are being asked to, at the very least, rise within yourself, if not rise and speak truth to power, quite literally. Wands are about taking literal action, and that might be something that you do, that the universe, that your guides, that your ancestors ask you to do, and you might even be confronted with a situation where you know it's the right thing to do, and it's a struggle. Do it anyway. Okay? You've got the 2 of Wands. We've got a whole lot of fiery energy to close out this particular reading. So once again, this is Aries. Let's see, Mars and Aries. So it's in its home sign right here. Mars and Aries. That's about taking charge. Be courageous. And you're going to love the card that I've got coming up next. I just saw it. Be courageous. Do what needs to be done. When the universe says to do something, obey it. Move forward with confidence that the universe will have your back, that it will bless you, and that you're doing the right thing towards justice. And I told you you're going to like this card. This is where true happiness lies, not just for yourself, but for everybody around you. You have the ability to start a ripple effect if you take decisive action and do as Spirit leads you to do. Follow your gut. Follow your intuition when it comes to you doing the right things. Do the right thing by others. Do the right thing by yourself towards your best and your highest good, to encourage others towards their best and your highest good. And that is where the true happiness lies. Even if this nation goes to hell in a handbasket, and I have a strong feeling more every day that it will, that doesn't mean that you have to go to hell in a handbasket. You can carry this energy forth and head on to better, calmer waters away from the United States, if that's what it takes. If you need to get your passport and get the hell out of Dodge, then at the very least you will have taken on this particular energy. It might have felt pointless at times to fight, but the point is that you resisted. Even if you were ultimately defeated in battle, you did not lose the war. You did the right thing in spite of how hard it was. And that's something that you can go to bed and sleep well at night, because you know that you did the very best that you could do and that it was the right thing. And now, no more from me. Thank you, Spirit. Y'all have a good day.